Arise hunters as we gain XP and level up our skills and stats with another anime review. I'm Rob, JTR Anime Noob on YouTube. JTR stands for Jesta ThaRogue, which is my name on Twitch and social media. On this channel I learn about and review anime with minor spoilers, but I don't go too deep on the plot or spoil the ending or any plot twists. After watching the two shows I wanted to watch in Chainsaw Man and Spy Family, I decided to watch the highest rated show on Crunchyroll, and that is Solo Leveling. Our main character needs to go adventuring to make money to pay for his mother's hospital bills. He goes into a low level dungeon which contains high level characters, and it all goes very wrong. In the hospital, weird things start to happen and he gets the system. And the show is about him using the system and raiding dungeons to find a cure for his mother's magically induced eternal sleep. So in this world a few years ago, gates have popped up with dungeons levelled S to E filled with magical beasts. They fully open after 7 days and the beast can come through into our world. At the same time, some people also got awakened with powers and they are called hunters. And this gives them abilities and they are also ranked S to E, and these are all gaming tropes like healers and tanks, etc. So they need to form parties to go into these dungeons, to kill the boss, to close the dungeon down, to stop the magical beast crossing into our world. But the important thing about hunters is once you have your power level, you can't improve or change. There's nothing you can do about that. Also, the beasts drop essence stones which can be used to create weapons and armour or can be sold for money. But also somebody's found out they could be used as a green energy source, which is nice. So there's this guild that's recruiting hunters in order to get parties to go into these dungeons to get them crystals that they can use for the green energy. So our three main characters, we start with Jinu Sung. He's not just an E-level hunter, he is below E-level, he is the worst, but he's very intelligent and capable. And he gets the system, so he gets like a little HUD that only he can see, and he's playing like this RPG. He's got daily crests for rewards and penalties for failure, he can get loot boxes, he gets his own instance dungeons. He's doing this whole thing on his own, and only he can see it, and he is levelling up. And he's the only one that can do it, hence the name Solo Leveling. We also meet Jui Lee. Now she is a B-level healer, but she only usually goes in lower level dungeons. And this first dungeon that they come across, this one that it was an absolute massacre, she's left traumatised by it. So we see her struggle throughout the season. But she is Jinwoo's friend and she often needs to heal him because of how weak he is, but she stands by him. The third character we meet is Jino Yu. He's a D-level hunter, but he's absolutely loaded, so he has really good equipment. And he becomes Jinwoo's best friend. So in Solo Leveling there's no fan service as such, but there is a hell of a lot of blood and violence, both human and fantasy. It's very gory, there's blood everywhere, people being chopped in half, body parts missing. It's a whole thing. I'm not going to say too much on the animation because it's just okay, everything is pretty normal, the monsters look fairly cartoony, the human people look humanish, and it's very average. Also average is the voice acting, everyone is pretty normal. There is Gina, who is Jinu's sister, and she's very fun, she's a bit more cartoony, a bit more what I'm used to in these kinds of shows. But apart from that, everyone is pretty average, and while we're talking about the sound, the intro theme is an absolute banger. Highly recommend listening to that. So community reception, this is rated 4.9 from 216,000 reviews on Crunchyroll. As I say, it's the highest rated show, I believe, if you sort it by rating. It's got 100% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 70% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, but there's no reviews on this, so I don't know why the audience score is so low. So I had a look at Crunchyroll, and people didn't like the voice acting so much, which I agree with. And they also say there's a lull in the story, and I think there is as well. We'll get into that next when we look at my thoughts. So I really enjoyed the start of this, getting to know these characters in this world, and then in that first dungeon, which goes over the first 2 episodes, is really fun. And then from episode 3, he starts to get the system, and then you get to learn all about that over the next few episodes and how that works, and that's a lot of fun as well. Then the last few episodes and where the story's going in season 2 are really good. The problem is that bit in the middle is about episode 6 to episode 10 maybe, something like that in the middle. It lost my interest. It wasn't terrible, it was just, compared to how it started and how it ended, it just seemed like a very big lull in the middle, and I wasn't a big fan of that. But overall, I did enjoy it. My favourite episode was that second episode where they're in that first dungeon and it's all going wrong, and we haven't even got the system yet, which is what the whole show is about really. So we haven't even seen that yet, but I was really into this dungeon and people just dying all over the place, everybody panicking and traumatising, being quite selfish as well, obviously because they want to survive. But it's very brutal, very tense, and I was like really hooked and just solidly watching what's going to happen, how they're going to get out of this. Oh no, I said the voice acting and everything's flat, so when we're looking at my favourite character, I'm just going to say Jinu Sung, the main character. He just seems like a nice guy, he's very capable, very confident, just seems like a genuinely nice person, so I'm just going to give it to him. Everybody else is pretty standard and no one really stands out. So my rating, I'm going to give it 3 levels out of 5. I did enjoy it, but however, I'm going to rate it at 2.5. I'm going to make it lose half a level for that middle period where I wasn't so interested in the show at all. And I'm recording this just after the last episode of Crunchyroll has gone out and season 2 has been announced just. So I'm excited for that. I am definitely going to watch the season 2 when that comes out. And the word of the month, I think, is pronounced manhwa. Please let me know if that's wrong. But when I was looking at Crunchyroll, what people thought of this, the titles of the reviews all use this word. I didn't know what it meant, and I looked it up. It just basically, it's the Korean term for manga that we know from Japanese. So I believe it is that simple. If not, please let me know in the comments. And let me know what you think of this review and what you think of Solo Leveling. Remember to like, share, subscribe and all that good stuff. And I hope you have a good day. And if you see any portals open up, don't go in them. Be sure to subscribe, because in the next anime I'm going to look at, somebody's going to get sent into a dungeon as well, but this time not as a human, as an inanimate object, and it's very weird but enjoyable. So like, share and subscribe and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. I've been Rob, aka GTR Anime Noob, and I'll see you soon.